So we played a clip from Ron Rivera earlier, and Valdez noticed something very quickly. I noticed the same thing. He
This is Matt Valdez.
is effusive with his praise of the defensive line. Like he starts with Chase Young. It goes through some of the players. They've been together now for 4 years. It is the strength of the team. Then he has something different to say about the offensive line. Can we play that clip again? And then we'll get into what it might mean for one Sam Howell.
Well, there's a number of guys that jumped out. I mean, I don't want to get specific right now because it's only been day one. But there were a couple guys that showed some stuff. In the secondary, I like some of the things that we're doing. It's funny, Jack and I had a conversation about the different nuances to what we do and how these guys are adapting. And you see those guys that we were talking about do the things that we want. I love what we're seeing on the defensive line. I think, you see how Chase and Jonathan and Montez and Duran have just picked up where they left off. I mean, that's a huge plus for us. And then look at the offensive line. It's a work in progress because it's 5 different guys working together, and we got to build that coordination. They got to show me that, and that's what we're looking for.
Work in progress. Word on the street is the D-line is dominating the offensive line, but work in progress, that's not what you really want to hear.
No,
So he says
Now, maybe he's just saying that because there are a bunch of new guys.
But the D-line should dominate the offensive line. When you pour that sort of draft capital and
I
high
agree.
picks into your defensive line, it should, for the most part, whip your offensive line.
But does it alarm you that the head coach is saying in a week and a half into camp after the first padded practice day that the offensive line is a work in progress?
we got to build that coordination. What is that going to mean for Sam Howell? 800-636-1067. Does this worry you? Does it trouble you that you have a young quarterback who has thrown the ball 19 times in the NFL? Look good against the Cowboys.
By the way, I'm going to be so happy once he
With
gets
an
more,
offensive line.
once he gets more pass attempts, so we can stop saying that Sam Howell's only thrown the ball 19 times.
Yeah.
I need to get past that.
Are you
19
tired of
number.
hearing that?
I mean, we've said it 1,000 times.
All right, I will shift to say
No,
one
it's
start.
fine. It's nothing.
It's
personal.
context.
It's just a talking point that we need to move past it on's he's got 3 or 4 starts under his belt.
But it is a valid talking
I
point.
understand.
Factual. It is factual.
I get it.
How worried are you about what Ron said and what it might mean to Sam Howell, young quarterback? I was looking, last season, Commanders quarterbacks were sacked a total of 48 times. It's a lot.
Well, part of that is because that big goofball Carson Wentz made a bunch of starts, and he just can't get out of the way of the pass rush. Like he is not near the same player he was early in his career when that was one of Wentz's strengths.
Wentz
he was mobile
sacked
to get away from pressure. Couldn't do that last year, obviously.
Wentz was sacked 26 times. But Heineke was sacked 19 times.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And Howell was sacked 3 times in his start. So a total of 48. And just for context.
Well, how many times did we come in on a Monday morning and say, man, the offensive line, they weren't good?
Right.
Well, when you go out and you get spare parts like Norwell and Trey Turner and expect them to play meaningful roles on your offensive line, you kind of expect that in return.
Well, they thought Norwell was going to be better.
Well, then that's a ding on the personnel department.
Well, of course it is.
that's a
They
black
whiffed.
mark against them.
800-636-1067, you want to chime in. So for context, they were sacked 48 times. You're right. Wentz was sacked the majority, 26 times, but Heineke sacked 19 times. If you look around the league, top quarterbacks.
How many times was Howell sacked in his start?
3.
3 times? Okay.
Mahomes was only sacked 26 times.
Right.
Brady was only sacked 22 times. Trevor Lawrence was sacked 27 times. Their quarterbacks were sacked 48 times. Now, there are a couple of good quarterbacks who are sacked a ton. Last year, Kirk Cousins and Geno Smith were both sacked 46 times.
And I think Burrow has taken a lot of sacks.
Burrow was sacked 41 times.
Okay.
Yeah, he's always sacked.
Yeah.
But
Surprised he hadn't been hurt more.
young quarterback, they're going to need better line play.
I think they need better line play, obviously, but Sam Howell can scoot, and he can get away from some of the pressure. And I think, again, that this is where Eric Bieniemy comes up so big. Like, he's going to scheme him away, hopefully, from any deficiencies in that offensive line. That's where all this falls on Eric Bieniemy. He's the big splashy add to the offense in the offseason. Other than drafting offensive linemen, you didn't bring any other real big skill players in here on the offensive side. This is where Bieniemy is earning his money and showing everybody else in the league that he deserves to be a head coach.
Well, you got to have a proper evaluation of Sam Howell, and I don't think
Right.
that you can do that with the line, especially if it's like it was last year. But most of all, I can't have another year of EB, who is in the Howell hive now, blaming the offensive line for Howell's shortcomings, if he has shortcomings. I can't have that.
Just be prepared for it.
I can't have him substituting Wentz's name with Howell for an entire year, blaming the line and
You
not
just
the
won't
quarterback.
be able to handle it.
I can't do this.
It's like
again.
me double faulting.
It's groundhog. It's Groundhog Day.
How's Wentz playing in training camp?
Hey, Tippy, he's just biding his time, and he's waiting for that perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
That's
He's
all.
waiting for the injuries.
Who's the team that just suffered an injury? It was
Burrow.
Burrow. They went out and signed 2 XFL quarterbacks.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, he's looking for the perfect fit.
I can't do it again. I can't do it
All
again.
right, let's go to the phones. 800-636-1067. It's funny. You want to call us the MGM National Harbor Listen
Even when
lines.
Bickle is off, on vacay, off, we're talking about Carson Wentz.
Well, no, it's just for context on how many times they were sacked last year.
All right.
Yeah, but our talking about Carson Wentz is way different than the way he talks about
Much
Carson
less
Wentz
annoying,
and thinks
right.
about Carson Wentz.
Yeah, I get it.
It's a way different animal. Let's go to James in Landover. What's up, James? You're on with the Junks. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Love your show.
Thank you.
Hey, just wanted to say, super excited Dan Snyder's gone. That's amazing. As far as the offensive line concerns go, I looked this up yesterday. Bieniemy is ranked almost in the top 5 over the last 5 years in points per game, and the Redskins have been in the bottom half of that almost as long as I've been alive. I've been a Redskins fan since '98, and it's embarrassing. But Bieniemy, I think, will have some good workarounds to have an aggressive offense, even if they have to move some of the offensive line around. And honestly, working with a young quarterback, he came in and did the same thing with Patty Mahomes. Obviously, Pat Mahomes is a different guy, and Sam Howell's untested.
Mm-hmm.
But it gives me a lot of optimism. That's all I got to say.
Okay, so you're
Thanks,
optimistic, James.
Thanks,
All right,
Matt.
I got you.
He at least recognized that Patrick Mahomes is in Kansas City,
Right.
which helps you land top 5 rankings when it comes to offensive categories.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes is pretty good perfume when you're
Yes.
involved with the offense in KC. Let's go to Mo in D.C. Mo, you're on with the Junks. Good morning.
Mo.
Yeah, Mo from yesterday, guys.
What's
Appreciate it. All right, how you doing?
All right.
So I'm gonna leave the topic from yesterday alone. But Robert Rivera is just a bad evaluator of talent. Let's call it what it is. I mean, he messes up constantly. Well, you'd think Trey Turner and Andrew Norwell was gonna come in and fix your problem. It was a harebrained idea, and it was asinine. Now, there's plenty of guys out there that are on the free agent market, and he didn't try to go after any of them. You got Dalton Reisner, you got Pat Afflin, you got Billy Price. You got a list of guys that you could go get, and he's not doing anything.
Well, what do you think about this year's setup and what it means to Sam Howell?
Sam Howell's in trouble. Now, if they tailor the offense to him, which I think EB will do, he should be fine. Because if you think about it, back when RG3 came here, the Shanahan tailored the offense, and it made it work. We got in the playoffs because of that. If you sum it down and keep the offense real simple for Howell, let him make short throws, play action, boots, all that'll work for him. Heavy on the run game. If you heavy on the run game, you can mask some of those offensive line deficiencies, in my opinion.
That's Cakes'
All right.
favorite offensive game plan.
Thanks, Mo.
Thank you, Mo. Heavy on the run game.
Yeah, I really don't like that game plan. I'm not a big fan of that approach.
You might be prepared for that.
It's not
though.
really my thing.